What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I thought we'd talk about the top 5 things to consider when planning a fish room. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The number one thing to consider when planning your fish room is your budget. How much do I have to dedicate to this project? This will determine how many bells and whistles you can have in your fish room. Remember to account for construction materials such as lumber and plywood for your racking systems, not to mention the obvious: tanks, lights, and filtration. The second thing to consider is layout. This will be influenced largely by the space you have to work with. But you'll need to ask yourself, how many tanks do I want to run? Also, will I have plans to expand in the future? This could be as simple as going from a 12-inch to an 18-inch or even a 24-inch wide tank while keeping the same length aquarium. How can I maximize the space? For example, stacking your tanks to allow for more aquariums. The third thing to consider is heating. One of the biggest costs of running a fish room is utilities, mainly electricity. Modern aquarium heaters, though very efficient, use a lot of electricity. If possible, you may want to heat the space instead. I have a gas line running my fish room and have installed a space heater. This was a huge cost savings when running several aquariums. This method would only work if most, if not all, of your tanks are within the same space. The fourth thing to consider is filtration. This can make a huge impact on your budget depending on how you choose to filter your aquariums. Your choices include sumps, hang on the backs, canisters, and an air rail system with sponge filters. I chose the latter. The choice was simple. When I started adding up the cost to run all the hang on the backs on my tanks, it would have broken my budget. The fifth thing to consider is automation. These are the bells and whistles I spoke of earlier. Things like automating your lighting, an auto water change system, or even adding an automatic feeder to your tanks. These are useful things to have, but aren't necessary. True, they make your life as a fish keeper easier, but you miss out on some of the observations you get when performing these tasks. But they do have a place in the fish room. For instance, if you travel a lot, this could be a lifesaver in that you don't need someone to do daily feedings or water changes while you're away. The auto feeders are also useful if you are raising fry and want to feed them multiple times a day. Well, there you have it. My list of things to consider when building a fish room. Did I miss anything? If you've built a fish room before and there's something else that we should consider, leave us a comment below and tell us about it.